All right. This ain't just a show. This is a platform. Veteran built, battle tested. Welcome to the MisFitNation. Yeah! Mic in a room, built from boots on the ground, now we breaking the rules. 2 vets, 1 leader, painting the sound, turn scars into sermons, let them echo around. Authors with truth, musicians with fire, actors backstage chasing something higher. Entrepreneurs bleeding just to get ahead. If you fought for your dream, yeah, you are what you said. If they told you no, if you still came back, if you fell to your knees but you stayed on track, this is your voice, this is your flame. Say it loud, remember the name. No salvation, just elevation. We rise again. From the fight to the end. We are the Misfit Nation. No damn labels, no damn cages. If you're still breathing, you belong. Turn it up. This is our song. Yeah. This is our song. Yeah. Veterans standing with ghosts in the chest. First responders running in while the world second guess. Gold star names carved deep in the soul. Your story ain't over, we carry the whole. Coaches teaching mindset, breaking the chains, turning barely alive into owning the pain. Truth over polish, scars on display. If it's real, let it bleed. That's the misfit play. If it's heavy right now, and the dark feels cold. If it's heavy right now, and the dark feels cold. If it's heavy right now, and the dark feels cold. It's Aubrey right now. We're the more than you know. Don't walk alone. Veterans press 1, bring it home. Don't trade forever for tonight. You're still needed in this fight. We are the Misfit Nation, built from scars and dedication. We rise again. From the fight to the end. We are the Misfit Nation. Every voice is vindication. From the silence to the scream, we're strong. Welcome home, you belong.
Misfit Nation, welcome back to your Sunday after dinner edition. It's always great to be here with you and have you on our side on the show when you can be doing so many other things. But tonight you choose to be with us. Not even sure what else is going on today. There's not a lot of good sports on right now. Football is still a few weeks away. They're in pads, though. We had our Hall of Fame game the other day. Some good hits in that game, strangely, for the preseason. Today, NASCAR. Ty Gibbs got his second victory, so congratulations to Ty Gibbs and JGR Racing. Tonight, we have a great guest. This is a show where we talk about people who have been tested by life, made the hard choices, and turned those experiences into something that can impact others. Tonight's guest has a story that fits that mission perfectly. Victor Bretting grew up without a father or a blueprint for the man he was supposed to become. He watched his single mother work 60-hour weeks just to keep the lights on. He started at the bottom of the construction industry and spent nearly 5 decades working his way up, building companies, leading people, and learning missions about leadership and character that you won't find in a textbook. But his story goes far beyond business. He's an international sportsman who has hunted more than 140 species across 6 continents, and he's founded Bretting Texan Ranch in North Texas, not simply as a business, but as a way to give back. The ranch has donated more than 60 hunts to combat veterans, terminally ill children, and faith-based youth groups. And then Victor decided to put a lifetime of lessons on paper. His memoir, The Man That I Would Become, began as a letter to his grandchildren and became something much bigger, a message about faith, failure, responsibility, choices, and what it really takes to build a life worth passing down. Tonight, we're going to talk about the man Victor became and maybe challenge all of us to think about the person we're still becoming. Misfit Nation, please welcome Victor Bretting. Victor, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate you having me.
It's great to have you here. We were laughing a little bit in the green room before we went in there talking about the hard headedness. And I want to thank you. I want to start at the beginning. When you think about that fatherless kid watching his mom work those 60-hour weeks, that's a lot of hours just to keep those lights on. What would that kid think if he could see the man sitting in front of me right now?
He would think he'd be thanking his mom, for grounding him in the faith. She put me in a faith-based school until I was in sixth grade, and she put me in sports when I was 5. I'm supposed to be 6, so she kind of grounded me and into what I finally become, and how I am today.
That's outstanding. And we were talking about the heat, humidity down here in South, and you're in just north of Dallas there, and only and at the ranch. I'm in Louisiana, so we're sharing some of that heat, that thermometer stuff here. And tell us a little bit how you picked that area for your ranch. Is that where you grew up, or did you move into that area?
Kind of moved into it. Was born in San Angelo, which is about 3 hours, from here, and then went to Galveston, my junior high, then Coppers Cove, which is right around Fort Hood, for my my high school days, and then went to Bay City for 4 years, landed in Houston for 2 decades, and then DFW for the past 2.5. So this was really about what it started was retirement. My wife's a 38-year educator, spent 50 years in construction. So it really was about getting us back into the country, some of the roots we came up with, my wife and I, and we just kind of landed here in this nice, pretty old city right now.
Nice. And I was looking on the Google Maps to try to find out where you were, and I was just looking at the landscape. I saw that's beautiful. There's nothing out there. It's beautiful. It's wide open spaces, little pockets of little city area, and then beautiful open spaces. And that's what people aspire to get away from the hustle and bustle and actually get to give back and do what you do.
Yes, sir. I can see stars at night. I couldn't see that in the city.
You can hear better noises at night too, where you are now.
Oh yeah, a little cricket compared to a car going down the road, or 3 or 5 or 10 or 100.
Or a lot of music coming out of those cars too.
Oh yes, sir.
Drive you nuts.
Yeah, a little beep beep, thump thump thump.
Yes, sir. What started your drive to get to those 6 continents and hunt those 140 species?
It's my uncle actually took me out when I was 13 years old for my first whitetail hunt, and then you're like every other family in life. You struggle, raise kids, try to provide for them, and so it kind of goes on the wayside. And then as my boys started getting a little older, there was a traditional teal hunt that we would go to, and a traditional dove hunt. And then as they kind of started getting older, my wife is a huntress, and so we said, let's kind of think about it. So we joined Safari Club International and started traveling internationally, and have been to Africa 14 times, and became a passion. And then that turned to the conservation side of things, which I'm sure we can talk about here in a little bit about what the ranch does.
Definitely. What was your favorite hunt out there during those 140 species hunts there?
It was actually one of my I'd say 2. The one before last in Africa is my dangerous game hunt. And I always wanted to go like Roosevelt did, where there's no fences. Because if you go to South Africa, Namibia, it's all high fence. Now, don't get me wrong, it might be 100,000 acres, but it's still high fence. And I kind of told myself I wasn't going to do that. So when we were in Mozambique, it was 58 miles tracking my Cape Buffalo. It was sitting on, croc-infested, hippo-infested waters with a dinghy, trying to shoot your croc and your hippo. And that was kind of the pinnacle. But we just came back from Africa, where I green darted, which is tranquilized my rhino, and sitting next to that rhino that's partly coherent and partly not, thinking if he rolls over, I'm probably done. It was pretty mind-boggling to be able to be to that animal like that and be next to him.
Well, I bet. I mean, I'm just trying to picture that and thinking of all those crazy safari movies I've watched through my life. And thinking, wow, what would I do in that situation? I'd probably be the one that gets rolled over on by the rhino. So I'd be that guy.
I was afraid I was going to be. I'm telling you, I was a little nervous.
Sure, that's a big animal, a big beast. Right?
Yeah, he's a big old boy.
Yeah. And are those able to are you able to ship any of that back home, the trophy part of it, or even the meat part of it?
Most of your animals, it's really just the hide and the skull and the horns. USDA is not going to let you bring the meat across, but the meat feeds the village. The meat basically never goes to waste. Hardly anything goes to waste in Africa. Because part of the problem with the tribes or the people in Africa is they're lacking protein. So being able to give back to that and having the protein value is something pretty special in itself.
Oh, it definitely is, and as many times as you've been there, you probably have your own block named after you now.
I don't know. I'd be afraid to really find out. There might be somebody waiting around the corner.
Oh, Mr. Victor.
Hey, you. I know it's not me. I'm really not Victor, I promise.
You killed my favorite rhino. Oh.
Yeah, that's exactly it. This was Leo. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize you named it.
We grew up together.
Yeah, no joke.
We're laughing at that, but I'm sure there's one out there.
Oh, I'm guarantee you there is.
Now you take all this experience and through your construction world, I'm sure in your construction business, you learned a whole other side of life of leadership and how to treat people and build things. And then now you've taken all that and brought it into the conservatory and your ranch. Tell me how that transpired.
So that was, again, kind of one of those things that, God leads you on a path. I just didn't know where I was going. And so we had the ranch and it was going to be for retirement. And my wife and I were going to retire and went to an outdoor show in Wichita Falls. And my daughter come up with a couple of flyers, man. She's just all excited. She goes, Dad, you got to go see these folks. Okay, well, let's go see them. Well, one was Gordon Melton, which is the 20-year founder of Hunting with Soldiers. And the other one was Casey Allen, the state director of Cross Trail Outfitters, which is a faith-based organization. So both of those two changed the direction and everything. It became a business to be able to bring people in, to be able to use that money, to be able to donate back and to help. So that little piece of it just totally changed the direction in our life and what I'm doing on the last half of my life.
That's amazing. Like I said, I looked at the map of where you are, and it's just a beautiful area. And to have that already in place when you're doing that construction, and like you said, we talked earlier about the 2 decades in Houston, a place where you really loved so much.
Oh yeah, it's adorable.
You couldn't get your mind out of leaving there, and now you're in a great place and doing great things. Yeah, I bet you didn't think it would be this peaceful on this side of it when you're able to do things your way now.
You really don't. We kind of talked about being raised without a dad. You're raised in a different way. You're raised pretty stubborn, pretty bullheaded. You don't cry. You watch your mom persevere, and that's what you grow up and do. And so that's kind of what life was. In construction. The toughest to basically survive, and you start getting to that back half of your life. And you realize I was missing some things in my life that I didn't understand, and part of that was an empathy and a caring and loving and. So now I get to be able to do that. I get to be able to sit back a little bit and watch smiles on people's faces, watch a 10-year-old boy give his life to Christ. I mean, things I didn't think I'd ever be able to see in my lifetime.
That's something that fills your heart, I'm sure, when you see that, and it also fills your cup because now you were that kid watching your mom struggle and do that 60 hours a week and help provide for you. And I don't know, did you have brothers and sisters as well?
I did. They were 8 and 10 years younger, so I was more like the father figure, of the family when that happened.
Yeah, so you were handed a hard stone to carry at a young age, and then take care of your siblings and watch mom work, and then now to see what you just said about the young boy giving himself to Christ and doing that has to fill your heart, fill your cup, and help you to push forward. As I read in your bio there about doing the veteran hunts and the veteran outings there at your ranch, how does that help you and help them at the same time?
It's Gordon. Gordon's kind of I'd say my rock in all this because doing it 20 years, understands the veteran side of things. I was at the end of NOM, so I didn't serve, And, he sits and says, he said, just watch, step back. He said, just watch 5 minutes, give them 5 minutes. They become brothers, and you do your safety breathing, you get them, all situated and all sit around. Next thing you know, they're poking fun. Oh yeah. Well, that Navy thing, y'all couldn't swim anyway. So you'd never be in there for it. It just starts, and it's so neat just to watch them. And, the outdoor heals, everybody said, well, what makes it happen? It's nothing special. It's just the outdoor heals, right? That 1 second they pull the trigger is not the thing. It is what happens before and what happens afterwards, and that camaraderie that they get back together again. It's just something special.
Definitely. And being on a ranch, probably sitting around a campfire, when you're around that campfire, like you said, they start jaw jacking with each other, and I'm sure they all rib each other just like you just said.
Yeah.
They're probably a lot, not as clean as you just said it, but there's a lot more. As I know my brothers and sisters do, and they get together, even if they've never even seen each other before, once you can smell veteran on each other, bad things happen.
Well, the wine, the alcohol, of course, it doesn't really hurt,
That's that liquid courage, I think we call it in business.
Yeah, pretty much.
Tom Jones said, great ranch. I'll never forget this trip and made some great friends. Thanks, Tom, for joining us tonight.
Thank you, Tom. How's it going, brother?
It's awesome. You're already getting a shout out on here. That's awesome.
Yes, sir.
Now, what really got me when I got your file, I think, from the interview Valet folk, great organization as well. It was your book, The Man That I Would Become. Did you ever think you would write that? And how was your process with it?
The answer is no. I hate English, hate grammar. I have all three forms of dyslexia. Do you really think I can be an author? Oh, of course not. So me and ChatGT, though, we're great friends. We really learned to like each other a lot. So, the funny part of it all is it was really just kind of to be a little, here's how I've become in my life, right? It was for my grandkids and their kids and whatever, because when I lost my mom, I felt like I lost heredity, right? Maybe I was 4 years old. She told me who Uncle Charlie was, right? I don't necessarily remember. And think about it. Your grandparents is the one that drug you all the family reunions. When's the last time you've been to a family reunion? And I'm an 8th generation Texan. So we were one of the original 300 settlers that Stephen F. Austin gave land grants to. So there's some history in there. I wanted to make sure that they had. And then the book just kind of started, morphing. We talk about the 22 or 23 suicides, in the veteran community. Construction has 50. And most people don't really understand that we're double what the veteran suicide rate is. So it became something a little bigger for me. And maybe I could have a mission in life, in my last half of what I'm here on this earth.
50, then that makes ours, that 22 look like a very small number. But any of those numbers, anything more than one is horrible.
Yes, sir.
You got 50. And there's a lot of veterans that go into construction. So
yes, sir.
Over there, they go into construction and, of course, first responder stuff. So that's a lot of brothers that go both those ways, and it's a horrible thing to have to live with because you knew a lot of these guys, especially as long as you were in the construction field.
Yes, sir. No, absolutely. So it kind of gave me a different mission in life, and then, like you said, maybe I can have a platform because one of the things, Rich, I kind of realized is if it didn't affect me, I probably didn't say a lot. And then you wake up one day and you look and said, where'd the world come? Well, Victor, because you kept your mouth shut and you didn't, talk about what you should. So I've become a lot more vocal on things I think that people need to hear. And I'm still back to the old saying that my granddad taught me is God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth, boy. So shut up and listen a little bit. So, we need to do that in life a little. Let's listen to each other,
And listen to hear, not to speak. Always,
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Amen.
When someone is speaking to you, try to absorb what they're saying and then formulate a response. Don't just sit there and wait for your chance to one-up them.
Yeah.
Maybe just,
yes, sir.
And be a conversationalist. Talk to them.
Absolutely.
Look at them and speak. I mean, now it's hard for me because I have to do many things at once right now talking to Victor, but if he was in the studio, it'd be easy talking right in front of him, but we're kind of geographically dispersed right now.
Yes, sir.
But he's in a better place than I am. He's on a ranch. I'm in Louisiana.
Well, hey, the last interview was from New York, so I think you're close to me. I really do.
I'm pretty close to you. Where half my Tuesday crew is up that way.
Well, you're not north of the Red River, so we're okay.
That's a true statement. Very true statement.
Uh,
I feel like the river falls on me as soon as I walk out the house here with the humidity.
yes, sir, it does.
When I was looking at, and also your first hunt was a whitetail, I believe, right? As a
Yes,
young
sir.
man, 13 years old, I believe.
Yes, sir, that's correct.
And how was that feeling then? And then do you still have that same giddy feeling now when you go on a hunt?
I do. You know, I always tell everybody, you know, if you kind of lose that feeling, it's time to stop hunting. You know, I still have that. And don't get me wrong, through life, you know, you learn to control the adrenaline, but after that trigger's pulled and that animal's down, it comes back and the heart starts beating, going, yeah, baby, here we go. Got to have that feeling.
It's that adrenaline rush and the rush of accomplishment, success, because you've been out there X amount of hours, or unless you get lucky, as soon as you set up, you get something. Most times you're out there for a long haul, waiting for the best thing to happen, and when it happens, it's euphoria, and that's basically what the feeling is for, I guess, most hunters.
Well, I've always said when people come to my ranch, you know, the animal's got to make a mistake. Don't think we're that good. We just need to be in the right place at the right time when they make that mistake.
Right. Then they only have to make one. So
That's it. If you're a good shot.
True. Yeah. You got that caveat there.
Yeah, we won't go into that detail, but if you're a good shot.
If you know what you're doing with the weapon that you chose to do.
Yes, sir. That's why I appreciate y'all coming out to the ranch, because I don't have to worry about y'all shooting. You veterans are pretty dadgum good.
Some are better than others, but most of us can shoot. I mean, the Navy guys probably can't shoot as well because, you know, there's not a lot to shoot on a boat, but God bless them. They do other things good for us.
Ducks and fish, man, you know.
It is.
Now I'm going to get this email about the Navy. I can feel it coming. Here we go, Rick.
Don't worry.
Oh, geez.
I didn't even say that they were Uber for Marines in that sense, but I would have it all out there.
That's right, by golly. Oh, shoot.
How big is a group that comes out there? Is it a normal? Do they have normal sizes, or do they just range from maybe 5 to whatever?
Yeah, it kind of ranges. We kind of tap out at that 10 to 12. I don't want to do any more than like 2 hunters per guide, because every hunter that goes out, you know, has to have a guide with him. The one is his safety. I mean, that's the biggest thing. You know, we're out there to make sure everybody stays safe, but we're also out there to make sure, you know, you shoot the right animal, because not many people are going to be able to tell the difference between a 160 and a 170 class whitetail. So we're there to help them, you know, as well, making sure that they get what they want.
That's good, and that's that good ratio, kind of just like your wife in education. One teacher to X amount of students, one guide to X amount of hunters is probably a good safety issue, a safety parameter as well.
It is. We've all got radios. We know where everybody's at. We always talk. You know, that's the biggest thing, because, like I tell everybody, you know, especially being in construction, right? Safety's got to be first. I'm sorry. That's the first thing we have to do.
Definitely, and sometimes you have those people on both the construction site and in the hunt that are not that safe or not that careful, and you really have to reel them in. And it's good to have strong guys out there to do that.
And you do, and you know, we'll give them the benefit of the doubt, but at some point in time, I let them know right up front in their safety briefing, the guys have the authority to end your hunt. Make sure you hear what I'm saying.
Yes, it goes back to what we said earlier. Listen to what was being said.
Well, I hope they had the ears on that time. So,
and they already have their muffs on so they can hear.
Yes, sir.
We got a question from the audience already. So this is an early question here. This is from @DryEyesNoMore. Victor, if a young man watching tonight grew up without a strong father figure like you did, where should he look for the mentorship and guidance he didn't have at home or didn't get at home?
Well, one, you know, like you said, I was faith-based. You know, you have to believe. I believe that, right? Mom always taught me, you know, that there's nothing you can't overcome. God will never put something on you, you know, that you can't get through it. Now, don't get me wrong. The first thing she said was, too, is God's not going to provide for you if you don't get off the couch. So you kind of have to make that thing. And there's all kind of father figures. My father figure was coaches, right? That's who helped me guide myself through life, you know, and teach me what's right. And don't get me wrong, it wasn't simple. You know, Victor, get off the ground, you know, and puke through your you wasn't taking your helmet off, and you wasn't taking that thing off that protect your teeth. So puke through it. So it wasn't like it's easy, but the point is there's always somebody to help you. But it kind of goes into some other things, that I just kind of want to mention too. Us as men, part of the problem why our suicide rate is so high is because we don't talk. We don't, we think we just have to handle it, right? Think about it when you were a kid, right? You're riding your bicycle and you fell off and you hurt your knee. And what's the first thing somebody says? Get up, suck it up, buttercup. You're going to be okay. It's all right. So, at an early age, we're taught to be a man, which is fine. But we still have to understand we got issues and problems and we need somebody to talk to. So I'd tell that young man, number one, there's somebody there that's willing to help you, and don't be afraid to talk to him. Don't be afraid to ask, because a manly man is only going to do so much without asking for help.
That's a true statement. And that's a very relevant in the veteran sphere, especially because in the military, you're told take a knee, drink water, and drive forward. Change your socks. Make sure you change your socks, because that'll heal everything. Or the doc will give you Benadryl, and that'll make it all go away. So I'm not sure what Benadryl does for a broken bone. I had a lot of Benadryl in my career.
Maybe morphine, but I don't know what Benadryl will do.
And we, the people of veterans on TikTok, said every sunrise is proof that you're allowed to grow past who you were yesterday. Happy Sunday. Thanks, brother.
Yeah. Agreed.
That's the TikTok world chiming in as well. If you're on any other channel, if you have not, please subscribe to our YouTube channel at @the_MisFitNation. Help us grow and help us share stories like Victor's to other people across the world. So, Victor, back to you. After your first hunt at 13 years old, did you go all the time, or was it just seasonal? And I know you were playing sports because Texas, you got to play football until you can't play football no more. But when was the hunting the best for you during your youth?
It was, I would probably think as my kids started getting old enough for me to take them, because you're teaching those mentoring moments, the safety moments, how to use your firearms. I remember that probably the most, before we started traveling with my wife and I internationally, because I got such a kick out of watching them, and I'd rib them just like they'd rib me. It's like my son. I remember one time I told him, hey, these nilgai are going to be tough. I'm telling you, I shot mine 5 times, right? So what do? We walk around the corner, 75 yards. There's one standing. He shoots it, falls up, goes backward, looks at me, goes, okay, there you go, Dad. Now, how about that? So those memories don't go away,
That's memories. Like now you have your memoir where I'm sure you wrote a little bit about those in there, and you can share this, like you said, with your grandchildren. How many grandchildren do you have, and have any of them come out with you on a hunt yet?
It just got 2 girls. All the boys aren't, I don't think, ready to have kids yet. So I think hopefully it's coming, because my mom's fixing to get the whipping out to them or something, get the stick and say, come on, boys, we got to do this. But my oldest granddaughter has been out, and the youngest granddaughter showed interest. So we started shooting when she was out here the last time, starting to get her kind of used to the rifle and the safety. So I think both of them will grow up into it.
It's amazing. My granddaughter just likes bugs and stuff right now, so hopefully she gets into it too. She's just turned 8. So
hey, you got a ways to influence her here.
Got time.
Yes, sir.
She knows what guns are, at least, so that's good.
There you go.
She tells me to keep them locked up. So.
There you go.
She knows.
Glad to hear it.
House, so grandma tells her stuff, and I get yelled at by 2 women.
Well, when you put 1 or 2 or more together, you're always in trouble. It's just the way it is.
The odds are not in your favor at that time.
No, sir, they're not.
You said earlier, we talked about conservation a little bit earlier. I want you to come back and just share what conservation means and how you are doing your small part where you are, and how the world can do it a little better.
Couple things. So like when we green darted, that rhino, everybody talks about the rhinos. What they don't talk about is the landowners and the people that save those rhinos. All the money they have to put into them, between the fencing, between the anti-poaching, between the food, the care, the veterinarian bills. They put in so much money trying to keep those rhinos alive. So me being able to dart one, give him money basically to take a picture with one, is going through conservation. The next thing on our ranch, we have 2 species of animals on our ranch that's extinct in their native land. I am responsible for taking care of these animals. I am responsible for not over harvesting these animals. I'm responsible for their health. So to me, again, hunters are the biggest conservationists in the world. We just don't sit and talk about all the things we do. We do them. Go to Africa real quick. The only anti-poaching that there is in Africa is from the outfitter himself. There is no game wardens that basically regulate what happens. It is our money when we go hunt that pays that outfitter to be able to pay somebody to help manage what's happening when those animals or all those animals are going to go extinct.
Wow. A lot of people don't think about the cost to keep them alive and keep them producing and what it takes for that side of it. Everyone just thinks, oh, if you just keep them in this fence, they're going to make it. But you still have to have upkeep of that fence, upkeep of them, upkeep of their food so that they can maybe make it. And which is a lot of what our zoos kind of try to do in weird ways, but they also don't do it all 100% correctly.
Well, and if you think about it, they only have a limited, right? Okay, so you got 2 giraffe in there, you got a breeding pair, so they breed 1. Okay, how's that going to help us, through the life expectancy of what that's supposed to be? So you have to have people, whether it's through SCI or Dallas Safari Club or whatever it is, any of the people out there that we're donating to, their mission is to still try to make sure that we have animals for my kids, their kids, and their kids.
Exactly. And you said you have a couple that are extinct in their parts of the world on your ranch. What are those ones?
So the Pierre Davids from China, they're kind of a mud deer. We've got a couple of them on there that just majestic as they can be. They're a little docile. We don't harvest them. They're here basically again to try to keep them alive. And scimitar horned oryx at one point in time were extinct in their native land. Now they made a comeback because they came off of a ranch and they put them back in their native territory and they came back to life. So again, if it wasn't for some sort of a hunting preserve, some sort of a hunting ranch to get those animals off of, you could have never put them back where they belong.
Wow. That's pretty awesome that you're able to do that and they're able to thrive in Texas. So I'm guessing where they are in China, I guess the landscape is kind of close or something.
Yeah, it is. I mean, they hang around water holes, right? It's kind of funny because they'll dip their horns in the mud and throw it on their back, and then they'll just sit in the pond, So like you said, they're kind of a mud deer, and as long as you've got that kind of environment, around for them, they do just fine.
That's pretty awesome. I guess I'll have to take a ride. I think it's 6 hours from here, so take a ride west and go check this out sometime.
You need to come on, brother.
Yes, sir. I got another question here from the audience. From Send Me 54. You talk a lot about choices. How do you forgive yourself for the bad choices you've made while still taking responsibility for them? Thank you, Send Me.
Well, so let's talk about forgiving yourself, right? This is kind of the culture we live in today, right? Let's talk about Texas. Let's get rid of our history. Let's not talk about Confederacy, because that was really bad. If everybody forgets about the history, then you forget about what happened, and so you don't make that same mistake twice. So I'm not ever saying that I'm sorry or I forgive myself. I made a mistake. Okay, I shake it off. I go down the road. I learn from it. It's kind of like construction. How do you not get fired in construction? Don't make the same mistake twice. I'm never going to say we don't make mistakes and we make them all the time, but don't make that same mistake twice. Well, so I need history to be able to tell me what happens. So it's really, to me, not about forgiveness. It's really about how do you understand what happened, analyze what happened, don't let it happen again, and learn from it. And if it's a good thing, hey, that's great. It's congratulations. And if it's something bad, I don't whine, right? I don't look at my spilled milk and go, oh my goodness, that was my last jar. Well, I'll figure out how to make more money, go get another one. So that's what I would say. It's not really a forgiveness thing. I think it's more of a perseverance thing.
Definitely learning those lessons along the way, making sure, like you said, don't make that same mistake twice, and staying in that job.
It's important. You need to feed your family. Yeah,
it's pretty darn important.
Yes, sir.
It's a good job when you have it, and it's something we say here is stacking victories. And every day, you wake up. Since we are human, you're gonna make mistakes. Things are not all gonna go right, and you got to learn from those mistakes, but don't dwell on them.
Absolutely not.
And count all the things that go well. As we get older, a good thing that happens every morning is we stand up. That's a great thing. That's a victory. Make your bed, brush your teeth, count them little victories each day, trying to beat the last day until you just, those little successes equal great victories.
Well, and I say, I woke up today and I'm on top of the dirt. That's my success story.
Gotta stay on this side of the dirt as long as
Yeah,
possible.
yeah, absolutely. As long as God will let me, I'm going to try to stay on the top.
Yes. So now that you've written your memoir, do you think you'll write another book, maybe just on ranch life or on your experiences with the ranch?
Don't know. A lot of people have kind of asked that. I've got a newsletter on LinkedIn that talks about the leaders who give win, and that could be another topic going forward. Because servitude leadership, I think, is extremely important. And I didn't learn that to the later part of my life. Be honest with you, it's 20 years into construction, and my boss basically said, if you want to, you want to start climbing up the ladder, be an executive, Victor, you're going to have to learn how to do things a little different. So I appreciate him giving me that direction. Then I had another mentor that told me about servitude leadership, what it means to lead from the front, and that, right? And coming from the veteran side, you lead from the front, not the back, right?
Sure.
My saying is, if my toes are wagging, or if my mouth is wagging, my toes better be following, right? Toes and tongues kind of a thing. So to me, that part of the leadership, I think, is maybe where the next book comes from, is how do you take it from point A to point B? And I'd like to highlight some folks that have done that, which is what I do in my newsletter, that have led from the front and sacrificed to help people, in their lives.
That's a great thing. And I just shared your LinkedIn in the chat for those who are not connected with you, so they can connect with you and see your newsletter. Because as soon as they open,
Appreciate that.
as soon as they open your newsletter, they become a subscriber to it, and that's a pretty cool thing on LinkedIn.
Oh, great! That's cool. Thank you.
Yeah, that way your followers get higher, and more reads, and more people learn about these lessons, and maybe we'll have a lot of people sharing those lessons along the way.
Great.
And we can hope for that.
Yes, sir. We can.
Hope for the best, and maybe something great will happen for all of us.
I'll settle for half instead of one. It's okay.
Yes. So, we got another question. This is from, I don't know how to mess this name up. I'm sure I will, but it's by the by. What do you think men today misunderstand most about what it actually means to be a strong man?
That's a real good one, and it's something that I had to learn. So Victor now has what's called tens and ones. God gave you a 10, right? That's the strength that you just kind of naturally have gotten. Your one is the opposite. So in other words, my 10 was to take all the pressure of the world, take the hill, get out of my way. We're going to get to the top. Well, unfortunately, that one is no empathy, no feelings. I remember the first time I said I feel in front of my kids, and I thought they fell out of their chair. You said, "What, Dad? Repeat that. I'm going to record." What did I say? Dad, you said I feel. You never say that. You say I think. So being a man, being a strong man, being a man to take care of your family and provide for your family and to keep them safe. Yes, I understand that strength side of the thing, and that macho, I got to have this. But you know what? There's nothing better now than, which my wife has taught me. She beats me over the head occasionally, and she makes me understand. So I get it now. But that feeling side, how can you tell your family you love them and hug them and have that feeling if there is no feelings, right? I've got failed marriages, just while we're being honest. I've got failed marriages that I used to think maybe was somebody else's fault. And then you have to write a memoir, and you have two choices. You lie or you tell the truth. And I had to confront some things and said, Victor, it failed because you couldn't give your heart. There was nothing to give. That side of me didn't exist. So men today need to understand a well-rounded man isn't fives, right? My God-given 10, I learned I stay as a 10, but I need to take the one up to a 3 or my one up to a 4. I'll be honest, now I sit and watch a movie now, shit, I could cry like a baby, but you'd cut my head off before and I'd never cry. It wasn't going to happen in my lifetime. So that would be my advice. Men, you have to understand there's a feeling side that you need to be complete as a man.
And I think a lot of us have had that speech from our better halves. When my daughter got married, there was bets going on if I would cry. And everyone was waiting for that moment. And it never happened because I didn't have it in me. I was still dealing with a lot of things from war and from my service, and I just didn't have that button. And I had fun. I was very proud of her, proud of her husband, still proud of both of them. But I never shed a tear, and they all said I'm just cold hearted, but I just didn't have that feeling at that point. And since then, I've got some help, and I learned I know what emotions are now, I guess, and I know what they do for you.
Well, and Rick, thank you for saying that, because it's hard for us as men to admit we have a fault, right? I mean, that's a tough thing to do. I was I know I'm gonna get it out here sooner. Like, wrong. Yeah, that was it. That was the word I was trying to get.
Not me.
So maybe I thought I was wrong. Was that it? I think I thought I was wrong. That's what it was. So I appreciate you saying that, because it is tough. I've had to learn to adapt to say it, but it's really easy when my wife comes home and said, I'm not your employee, turn around and go back. So I've learned pretty good. I really have.
You're a good learner, a life learner.
Yeah. It took me a couple of marriages, but I got there.
Sometimes it's that bat to the head that helps you out a little bit, or a frying pan across the room.
Yeah, that one helps a lot too.
They both shake things up. Call it shake it up, and sometimes we get it right the next time.
Yeah.
Sometimes we
If
learn.
not, you'll have a headache again.
You have to fold your own clothes, so
Yes, sir.
It's weighs on each other, and you just learn or eat on at that point.
Yeah. Well, thank goodness I got a wife that's understanding, but she also won't let me get away with much either. So
Share a couple of great stories from your hunts and from what you've learned on the ranch so far.
I think we had a young lady come out, and she wasn't his wife at the time, just a girlfriend, but would come out to the ranch with him hunting. And, she finally hunted one time. And I happened to see on Facebook this beautiful post, that she put about what nature is, and, what our responsibility is for nature, and what harvesting an animal, really means. It was just beautiful the way she understood, so I'd say that's a big part of what I see. And the other part is, you have a lot of father sons or father daughters or whatever, and you just kind of watch the what they're trying to pass on to their kids, right? You get to see how they're interacting with their kids and what they're trying to do for their kids. And, all of those to me are just blessings that I would have never been able to see if it wasn't for the ranch.
That's great. And seeing someone's desire to become a hunter or learn how to hunt and get out there and do it, I'm sure that just is amazing to watch them grow in that process.
It is. And you watch them from year to year to year. I've got clients that bring their daughter, and this is year one, then year two, then year three, and you kind of watch them and you watch them mature. And you feel like you're a part of their life, which I think is kind of cool.
It's kind of like watching people that watch Yellowstone. The first year they're wearing a cowboy hat, and then by the end they're wearing the baseball cap, and just kind of going along with the flow. But when they get out there to hunt the first time, they're probably dressed kind of in what they thought they should wear, or carrying the gear they thought they should wear, and then learning the ropes as they go. And then they become the teacher to the next person.
Absolutely. My favorite saying is, one can teach one pretty good. I can teach two okay, teach three so. So watching that one-on-one reaction, you know exactly what that child's learning.
Exactly. You get to see it live and in color once they pull that trigger and see something fall in front of them, or something not fall because they miss.
Mm-hmm.
You see that reaction and what they really are there for at that point.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's memorable. I was concerned, I'll be honest with you. I was really concerned going from hunter to outfitter, like I'm going to hate my life, right? And it's been exactly the opposite. Some of the greatest people, that have been here, and you hear their stories and you get to talk and you break bread with them. I mean, it's been a wonderful experience for us.
I was looking on your website, and a lot of websites say about us, meet the team, meet this. Yours says meet the family.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's says a lot about you. And then, of course, about your team there. It is a family business. It's not just a bunch of dudes out there being guys, and it's a family business. And those guys that are out there as guys, and the wildlife manager, that's family. And I think that's amazing that it's labeled as family.
Well, and here's the funny part about it. We're probably one of the only ranch, and I'm going to say, let's just say very few, but I think we're the only ranch that has over 100 5-star reviews. Part of that is the family thing. Didn't come from me. That came from the reviews. They said that we leave as friends. We leave as family. So we kind of adapted that saying because of that's what we want it to be. We want you to be here. We want to have a good time, and we want you to leave as family.
Yeah, I stuck on that page yesterday probably for way longer than I had to. I never see people say it, and I kept looking at the hat, the leather patch hat. So that's an awesome hat. Got to get me one of them.
We'll get you one of them. Yeah, I'm wearing the cheap one right now because they don't give it to me. I have to give it to my clients. So what can I say?
You always have to learn.
I know. I'm trying. I really am.
The curve is something else. Another question just popped in here. Hopefully this doesn't hurt both of us. at Elegant Fool, with everything you've accomplished, how has your definition of success changed from when you were 25 to where you are today? Great question, Elegant Fool.
It is, and thank you, because that leads into the book. It's what legacy are you leaving behind? I don't really care about the accomplishments that happen. It's the mission that happened along the way. Is how you learned and how you got to where you're at. My first 50 years in construction is leaving totally different than what's happening right now. My last part of my life is that legacy that I'm going to leave, and I'm hoping people remember me of the giving, and trying to be part of the human race that's not just sucking something up and not giving anything back. So I tell the boys that are part of the ranch all the time, right? If you don't understand that your legacy that I'm leaving you is about giving, then I'm just going to sell the ranch. This is a legacy you will continue, and if not, I'm just going to sell it, and we'll go to the coast someplace and sit and drink Mai Tais or whatever. So that's, to me, the biggest thing. What legacy are you going to leave before you leave this earth? Because you're not going to leave it with anything that you thought that you had or you acquired.
Definitely, and that's something that I've been reading a lot about lately, is leaving that legacy, for the next generation to lead forward. And through servant leadership, do you go out there and mentor the youth so they can build a legacy and maybe lead our country to better things and bigger and better things? And that legacy is what you need to leave behind. And for you, you're doing amazing things there, and you have the family, the tribe mentality there, to hopefully have someone there that's going to take that legacy and drive it to the next generation and keep pushing it forward.
Yes, sir. That would be the goal. I would love to look down at that point in time and have a smile on my face.
And you could have a Mai Tai up there too.
Well, I don't drink, so it'd be a virgin one.
Just say Mai Tai and just have it.
It is.
We got one more question here. This is from Nancy Truism. If someone watching feels like they've wasted too many years or made too many mistakes to change their life, what would you tell them?
There is no such thing as never too late. I'm 67 years old. I just found my path of what God was leading me to 3 years ago, right? I always thought I was in control. I've got this. This is what I'm going to do. Oh, yeah, well, I got bucked off the horse, right? The old Texas thing, cowboy up, right? Well, dust your pants off, get on the horse. I was riding. I didn't know where the hell I was going, but I was riding somewhere. So there is no such thing as too late in your lifetime. You just have to keep persevering and understanding that you'll find that mission. You will find that mission. I found mine at 64 years old. I found my mission.
Some of us are very hard learners.
That'd be me. Do you see the bruises on my forehead? I'm sorry. I use makeup. They're all gone now. There you go.
You have a good team there to help you out.
Yeah, that was it. Thank you for giving me the time. I really appreciate that.
That's awesome. Now I want you to dive into the book and share some of the lessons that you're sharing with the book. Don't give it all away, so people will still go out there and grab it and buy it, and maybe come visit you to have you sign it.
I'll give you a good one, a good lesson in life, right? About how a mom takes care of you, and then a mom's going to whip your butt, right? So when I lost my scholarship, the university didn't want me anymore because I had a 1.6 grade point average. So they said, "Oh, you don't need to be in college. Why don't you go do something else?" So I come home, sit on my mom's couch for a couple of weeks. Oh, woe is me. What am I going to do? And I kind of catch out of the corner of my eye, my mom's got my suitcase wheeling it by. Oh, man. Oh, okay. So then she says, "Hey, can I have your car keys?" Well, maybe mom needs some gas or something. Sure, mom. Then about 20 minutes later, she comes back and says, "Hey, can I see you outside?" "Yes, ma'am." Go outside. She hands me my keys, hands me $20. Said, "Tell me where you land." "What are you talking about?" She goes, I got your little brother and little sister to take care of. I'm only me that's supporting this, and you need to go figure out what you're going to do with your life, right? So fast forward a little bit. Picked up a buddy of mine that needed money for college next year. So we ended up at a nuclear power plant down in Bay City. About the 7th day, I was sitting out there, and the hiring manager came out and he said, "Son, you can't stay here anymore." I said, "Sir," I said, I'm out of gas. I said, "I'm down to bread, water, and cheese. And the only way you can get rid of me is to hire me." So come Monday, he hired me. He looked me in the eye and he said, "Son, if you disappoint me, you're really not going to like the outcome." So there starts 50 years of construction.
Wow. Two hard lessons from two hard people.
Oh yeah. It was a lesson, but back to perseverance, right? You can't stop. You've got to keep going. You'll figure it out. You really will.
Definitely will. And I tell people all the time, the great Wayne Gretzky once said, "You miss 100% of the shots you don't take."
Absolutely.
And if you keep taking shots in life, you're gonna hit something. You're gonna do something right, and one of those shots is gonna land in, and you're gonna find a place where you're supposed to be. People always say you're right where you're supposed to be all the time. Don't worry where you are; it's where you're supposed to be. Be the best person you can be where you are, and you'll find out if you're doing the right things at that time.
I totally agree. My part of that is the answer is no if you don't ask the question.
That's true. It's always going to be no, man.
Always no.
And that's the worst answer you could get is no. No matter how many times you ask the question, the worst thing that can happen is going to be no. It's not going to be you getting punched in the face or anything,
Absolutely.
unless you
Yes,
ask
sir.
something really off the wall. But if you ask something, a normal question, the worst that's going to happen is they're going to say no
That's it.
and drive forward, or maybe they'll point you in the right direction.
Absolutely.
And that's something we all need to learn. You got to keep pushing until you can't push no more. All right, that's all the questions from the audience. I'm going to pop your website now, share that with the audience, and you can, while I'm popping it up, you can basically tell everyone how to get in contact with you and how to come and visit you if they want to come out there.
I appreciate that. So our website is Bretting, which is BRETTING, Texan Ranch.com. And on there, you'll find where you can get the book. We've got a media page that talks about where you can get our book. We are also on My Outdoor TV. We've got 5 episodes streaming with Trekking Outdoors. It's called Trekking Outdoors and BTEX Ranch that we've got. It's got some podcast appearances in that. So you can pretty well find anything about me other than asking my wife by going to the website.
She will share as well.
Oh, she will share. Yeah, she'll give all the rumors away. I promise you.
Like this monster whitetail right here. It's
We've got some big ones. Yes, sir.
That's a trophy whitetail and a monster. That's
Yep.
right there. Bring your team to BTEX so you can plan your retreat there, business retreats. Get out there and have fun and learn about yourselves and learn about hunting and conservation. God, hard words tonight.
Yes, sir.
I have one more question for you here in a minute. Once the screen stops playing craziness here, someday your grandchildren will open the man that I would become when you're no longer sitting there to explain it to them. When they close that book for the final time, what do you hope they understand about the man that grandfather chose to become?
A couple of things. One, faith. You need to base who you are on your faith, and the other one is perseverance. You've got to persevere through whatever you're going through, good, bad, or ugly. You have to persevere, through that point in time, and you will get to the other side. And that's the biggest thing I want them to understand. You can't lay down. Again, God will help, but you've got to get off the couch. So I want them to see that my life wasn't easy, right, when I started, but that doesn't mean it was tough, right? It means you just went through it, you figured it out, and you went on to the next thing.
Outstanding. That's a great answer to that question. And Misfit Nation, please heed a lot of the lessons that you learned tonight. If you want to get out there to the ranch, follow the website, get out there. It's an easy website to navigate. Even I can do it, so you can do it too. We all can get out there, and you can learn from yourself, learn about yourself out there. You can learn a lot about you when you get out there. All right, I have one more question for you, Victor. This one's usually the hard one for people. What's 3 things the Misfit Nation, our audience, can start doing tomorrow to be better people?
Believe in yourself, number 1, right? A lot of people give up, and that's where the suicides come from, right? You got to believe in yourself. That's the first thing. When you believe in yourself, then you have to get off the couch. That means it might not be easy, might not be the easiest thing in the world you've ever done, but you've got to get off the couch. Third thing is you have to continue through until you find that light at the end of the tunnel, which is where the perseverance comes from.
Nice. Trying to put it all in the chat so they get it in 2 different ways, verbally and visually. So
hey, we learn in different ways.
That's right. Learned that along the way through all these episodes that I have to feed it in different ways in order for everyone to understand what just happened and what they're listening to. Victor, again, thank you so much for taking some of your time tonight to hang out with us and share your story with us and all about Bretting Texan Ranch and your life.
I appreciate it, sir. Thank you for having me on.
Outstanding. Misfit Nation, I hope you got something tonight. I know I did. And remember, if you feel those walls caving in, you feel the darkness coming, do not give in. Do not make a permanent decision to a temporary problem. Yes, I know it's weird for me to say you're having a temporary problem, but it's something that can be solved. You have friends. Reach in your wallet. Take those 3 names out that we tell you to write down. Call them. They want to hear from you. If you don't want to call them, you're a little embarrassed, dial 988. Take option 1 if you're a veteran. If not, follow the prompts. And if all else fails, contact us here at the Misfit Nation. info@themisfitnation.com, jake@themisfitnation.com, or steven@themisfitnation.com. We will contact you. We'll keep you on the line until someone local can get you the help you need. And we know that you're going to be here tomorrow. Until next time, be humble, stay hungry, and keep hustling.
Thanks for checking us out and being a part of the Misfit Nation show. Don't forget to visit our website at themisfitnation.com. That's themisfitnation.com. Check out all our past episodes and get some of the great Misfit Nation gear for you and your family. As always, be humble, stay hungry, and keep hustling because we are
Misfit Nation. Misfit Nation.